What's up, guys? Adam Patterson, and I just wanted to give you my quick opinion on the best people to hire when it comes to sales roles. And I want you to know that this is my opinion. Opinions are based off of life experience and what you have experienced in your life. It's the it's the age-old testament of nurture versus nature. And what I believe from my nurture, my experience, is that the best people to bring into a sales role, or that the people who are going to succeed most when it comes to starting a business, were people who played individual contributor sports. Now, many people speak about sports. You want to hire sports players who are competitive and this and that. Yes, I agree. That is a great baseline, but it needs to go a step further, and you need to hire the people who wanted to succeed in individual sports, because there's a lot of fire when it comes to team sports. An example from me: I played basketball in high school. Now, for those of you who can't see or know, I am 5'8.5", 5'9". I was not this height in high school. I was never going to make it to the NBA, but yet I still wanted to be good enough to where I could be a starter on the team. And when I got home at night, unbeknownst to everybody else or anyone else, realistically, other than my family, I would practice ball handling in our unfinished basement. I would go down on weekends or at night, and I would dribble a basketball in my left hand. I would dribble a basketball in my right hand. I would do crossovers, behind the backs, crossovers again, practicing different dribbling techniques just in the basement because I wanted to become better. My issue was that when I got into a team setting, I'm not playing one-on-one all the time. In practice, when I'm playing one-on-one against every other player on the team, and I can cross them over, I can do these things, I can score a lot of points in a one-on-one. I can play really good defense because I'm just willing to out-hustle people. But the downfall of that is when it gets into a team environment, when it's not just one-on-one, you can do a triple move and you can attack the paint, and then all of a sudden you're drawing a different defender, and you have to be good at passing. You have to be good at shifting your body. There were other things that I did not possess in my repertoire for me to be good at that particular sport in a team setting. One-on-one, I could be great. Not really great, but I could be good. I could be good enough. I could be decent on a team. The issue comes when you get angry because you go, I could have done more, but this was out of my control. I could have done more, but this was out of my control. And when it becomes one of those external locuses of control that you don't have any control over, all of a sudden it's a completely different story. I have to focus on people who were in individual sports and ended up succeeding very well. Wrestling, golf. These are two of my big ones. Fighting can be another one, but it's more of an extension of wrestling, in my opinion. Those are the things that I look to, because those are the ones where it's all individual contributor. Nobody can get carried by the team when it comes to your individual score. I look to the people who did individual sports. Of course, wrestling is a team sport. You wrestle on a team. There's weight classes. There's other people, how your team ranks based on the points that you all provide. Right. But if you have a wrestler who never loses, that wrestler still goes on to compete in sectionals, compete in states, anywhere. I've always looked to the true competition of individual contributor sports when it comes to individual contributor jobs. Sales, when you first start, is an individual contributor role. You want to get better at it. You can, of course, go seek out your team members in your company, and you can role play. You can bounce ejections and rebuttals off of one another. You can do these things, and you have to do it in wrestling. If you want to get better at wrestling, sure, you can practice in your room working on a single leg technique, but you're not going to truly get better at it fully until you're wrapped up around another individual and actually executing on a single leg high crotch takedown. I always think about individual contributor sports because the people that I see who succeed really well, people who are always, we went to states, I was on a states team, I was one of the best players on the states team. You can get carried in your off days. There's only truth in individual contributor sports. If you have an off day, you are going to get beat, and you have to learn how to get better. You have to learn how to have more cardio. You have to do extra work to make sure you have that extra edge on everybody else. And sales is the same exact way. Sales and business ownership are the same exact way. You need to get better every day. You need to learn from your own mistakes. You need to look internally to see what you can get better at, how you could have progressed this sale forward instead of what happened. and you need to be able to look at your losses, learn from them, and get better. I always look at individual contributor sports opposed to every sport that's out there, because if you go into a company interview and are you competitive? Did you play sports? What sports did you play? They're all cookie cutter questions. And if you played a team sport, I didn't immediately write you off when I was hiring, but it just doesn't come with the same amount of gusto to me as I put it all on the line myself every single time. It was the team put it all on the line. And in a company, obviously you want someone who's going to work well with others, which is part of the reason that that question is asked. They want to be competitive, but you want them to work well with others and you want them to mesh really well. I don't really care, especially in these beginning stages when there's not too many people in the company. I just want a strong individual contributor who's going to get in there and push himself, because that will lift the team up. Anyone who gets in there and pushes themselves extremely hard will raise the team, because there's a new bar that has been set, and all of a sudden everybody has to rise to it or they look shit. And when you can do that, it helps out everywhere. It helps out the company. It helps out in all the greater landscapes, and it helps the other people. If they were struggling a little bit, they sit with you and they feel your energy, and all of a sudden everyone is lifted up. And that's what I always tried to bring to companies. I was an individual sports player. I loved golf. I loved wrestling. I wanted to be a fighter at a younger age, right after basketball, of course. I loved bodybuilding. I always look for people, if you bodybuild or if you power lift, those are all on you. Nobody else can lift the weight for you. Nobody else can do the work for you. I look for people who do individual contributor sports or do individual contributor activities, bodybuilding in terms of weightlifting and everything. Someone who's serious about it, though. They need to be tracking their progress. They need to be making progress. They need to be looking for gains in some form of one another. And they need to particularly write it down. If it's recorded, then I know that this person is about that life. And yeah, that sums up my ideas on hiring, or the best hires when it comes to salespeople, or the best salespeople and business owners. That is my opinion on who they are and a foundation. I think that you will find them all in individual contributor sports or individual contributor activities until they start their business or enter their sales role, to where they become an individual contributor in the sales role, individual contributor when you first start the business, and then all of a sudden you build a team around you and your skill set, and then you graduate out. But that's all everything I have for you in this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below, and as always, subscribe to the channel so you can learn more or hear more, see me more, see the smile more. Take care, guys.